Rome had many enemies throughout its lifetime, but there are some that were very important to Rome in its early days. Today, I will be explaining the enemies of Rome, specifically the enemies of the Roman kingdom. If you want to continue seeing more from me, like and subscribe and comment down below. My goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would appreciate it if you subscribe. Now on to the video. The Sabines were one of Rome's first enemies. The relationship between Rome and the Sabines would be complex, seeing initial conflict with Rome's abduction of the Sabine woman and peace after the Battle of Lacus Curtius would unite both kingdoms. But eventually conflict would continue with kings like Tullus Hostilius, Ancus Marcius, Tarquinius Priscus, and Tarquinius Superbus. Conflict between the kingdom and Sabines only ended because the kingdom was overthrown, but the conflict would continue into the rise of the Republic. After seeing Rome's growing power, Fidenae would attack Rome. Romulus would invade them and conquer them. The relationship between Rome and Fidenae would be constant aggression, as Fidenae would constantly rebel and ally with Rome's enemies, serving as a springboard for their enemies to attack Rome. Though they were conquered, the rebellions would continue past the Roman kingdom. Seeing Rome's conquest of Fidenae and their growing power, Veii would begin invading Rome. Romulus would defeat Veii. Though he did not conquer them, he would get a peace treaty with them. Their rivalry would be bitter due to their close proximity. They would constantly go to war over control of the Tiber region and resources. Their rivalry would continue into the rise of the Republic and their eventual conquest. A bitter rival and seen as the mother city, they will settle their rivalry in a rather strange way. Instead of going to war, they would settle their rivalry in a duel. Two sets of triplets would duel each other. Initially, 2 out of the 3 Roman triplets were defeated, but the remaining Roman triplet would defeat the remaining Alban triplets. In the end, Alba Longa would be subjugated, as Rome would be victorious in the duel. The dictator of Alba Longa would betray Rome by withholding his troops. Tullus Hostilius would conquer, execute Alba Longa's dictator, and destroy the city, sparing the temples. He would relocate the population back to Rome and integrate them into Roman society. The rivalry of the Romans and the Latins started with fighting for control over the fertile regions and trade in the Latium region. It would begin with constant warring and fighting with early kings until King Servius Tullius would establish an alliance with the Latin League. From here, the Romans would subjugate and later would have complete hegemony over the Latin League until the overthrow of the monarchy. This is probably the most complex rivalry, as the Etruscans both fought and heavily influenced the Romans, not only with architecture and culture, but most importantly influencing the monarchy, as the last 3 kings of Rome were of Etruscan descent. The Romans mainly fought against Veii, who were Etruscan but were distinct from the general Etruscans. Their rivalry would really amp up after the overthrow of the monarchy. Their rivalry is pretty short since it occurred primarily in Tarquinius Superbus' reign. It would consist mostly of raids with little change happening, though Rome was successful in these raids. Their rivalry would explode during the rise of the Republic, but that will be its own video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more from me, and comment down your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.